Marnie's here, let's start your day. Fabulously flawed, we're lighting the way. Monday to Friday, new episodes with laughter and love. Let's start the show. We're shaking things up. Don't let anyone dull your sparkle. Motivation, inspiration, and fun. Fabulously flawed, everyone. So shine a little brighter. Grab your smile and sing along. The show's about to start with Marnie, your host. You can't go wrong.
Hey, Fabulously Flawed friends. Welcome to Fabulously Flawed. I am your host, Marni, and it's Monday where I love to motivate. And my new favorite word for my divas is motivation, for the diva in the middle. And Mondays, they don't have to be miserable. We can make it somewhat magical. Find one thing to look forward to this week, even if it's I get that afternoon 10 minutes more where my kids are not home yet, or oh wow, I get an extra break today, or I'm going to go get that chocolate croissant over at that bakery because I've been, so proud of my healthy choices lately. So look for something to find the joy in your world this week. Just sometimes the anticipation of something is more exciting than the actual event itself, no matter how big or how small. So that looking forward to something gives us that little bit of inner hope, happiness. And today's episode, I just wanted to talk about mental health matters, and my mess became my message. Now, we are in the year 2026. I was born in 1970. Nobody, even today, the mention of mental health, it's the taboo and the stigmatization of it. It's like you're either neurotic and you're one flew over this cuckoo's nest, or you just have anxiety. Like there's no in between, basically, for people that really want to talk about their mental health, the mental health disorders that come from situations that can create trauma. Some of us are born with brains wired differently. And my whole life, I suffered thinking I was crazy, I was lazy, I was stupid, I was weird, why I didn't want to go out as I got older, why I would rather be alone, just the fear of making phone calls as life, as I got older. And I just realized, wait a second, I have been against the 8 ball my whole life. My anxiety, I would talk fast and stumble over some of my words, and I've been made fun of for that. And I referenced that one time where I was filled with anxiety, and that woman looked at me and she goes, Marni, what's the color of the sky you live in? And I say that always, and I reference it because it lives rent-free in my mind, the cruelty of that. I was somewhere where I was triggered, and I talk a lot when I'm not sure of a situation. I've learned to say, okay, my anxiety is taking over, my ADHD is taking over, and if I'm talking a lot, I apologize. Once I learned about mental health, I realized there's nothing to be ashamed of. Like we're such human beings, and why would we shame? Why is it a shameful thing? And believe me, when I was told initially that I should be put on an antidepressant, I was like, why? I'm not depressed. I'm around other people, not taking accountability. But I never had the opportunity to heal myself until I was in my 50s, late 40s, early 50s, till present day, because nobody ever wanted to talk about it. But today, we're talking about it. So if anyone is suffering from anything, you don't have to go 47 years like I did to get diagnosed. If you find yourself having difficulties concentrating, focusing, your mind racing, like if you are feeling stuck in many ways, there's a multiple of situations and things that go on in our minds that you don't have to suffer alone. And I think I am so passionate and the advocacy that I feel towards mental health awareness is because it is health. My mental health would have killed me quicker than my physical health. And I was diagnosed with chronic lymphocytic leukemia. And why do you think I was diagnosed with that? Because the stress and trauma that built up in my life for 47, 48 years until I was diagnosed, I never talked about it, released it, understood it. It's stored in my body. And you know what I got? An autoimmune disorder. So it is, mental health is just as important as physical health. It's the same thing. When you sometimes overthinking will cause drastic anxiety, depression, and some people don't even know what it is. They just accept it. I'm a bitch. I'm just miserable. But accountability and awareness is the key to healing. And once I did that, everything fell into place for me. And I don't know what possessed me. Well, I remember being shamed because I carry it well. It doesn't mean it's not heavy. And my life of trauma, and, I think I was behind the eight ball when I was born because my biological father, when I was 4 months old, left. As I got older, understanding people leaving. And then my mother remarried and he adopted me, Stanley, as his biological daughter, but I wasn't treated like daddy. If I can't, it's the way I look at my daughter with, like, the way my daughter looks at her dad, like, it's the way it's supposed to be. I didn't have that. And then my mother being married 3 times and 4 times, and people living out of our life, in and out of our life, and me being loved conditionally upon my physical appearance. I'm talking from 13 on. I was weighed constantly and told, you're only valued by how you look. You're only valued by being pretty. And this is the world I came from. So there's no self-love that ever went on in my world. Now, at 13, 14, 15, in junior high school, middle school, we called it junior high, my ADHD symptoms were poster child for ADHD. The messy locker, the lack of retention in school, the not being able to shut my mouth, and the passing of notes and not concentrating. And I said recently, I said, it really fucking sucks that I wasn't able to concentrate or focus properly, because I would have been so obsessed with U.S. history and like political law, political science, and just all of these majors I would have taken if I would have had some sort of typical, I guess, stable upbringing. It was very hard when I started to not understand anything. I remember when I was 16, it was biology, and I had to go to summer school, and it's like, dude, I don't understand shit. But nobody ever talked about, well, maybe it could be this. Back in the 80s, 70s, boys were put on Ritalin, and that was it. So as I got older, and when my life fell apart at 17, didn't actually place me where I am today, something so drastic and so horrible, being left abandoned on an interstate at 17 years old at a gas station in 1987, the week of my birthday, when no family member wanted to help me. I had to go house hopping to friends at 17. Not like, can I have a sleepover, but can I live with you? Can I live with you? And the families that had the stability, I thought, said no. And the mom with the unstable life let me live there. And I would just, so there was no stability. How am I ever supposed to love myself? Now I had to beg people for shelter, beg people for love. And now when my mother was out of my life, her sister, my aunt, who didn't really want her own child, was now left basically the responsibility of 17-year-old Marni, which she did not want. So that's when I went to New Orleans and started this downfall of darkness, living with someone who physically abused me. But when that was over and I was back in my aunt's world of glamour, and if you're not pretty, don't come near me. If you talk out of line, you cannot do that, because my husband is a multimillionaire. And if his daughter says, Marni, don't talk, you better not open your mouth. So my love was contingent. Being loved was contingent upon how I acted, how I looked. Again, how am I ever supposed to love myself? I'm thinking now in my early 20s. And I had gained an unbearable amount of weight. I think I was about 185 pounds. I'm only 5'2.5" maybe. And I was heavy. So now being around my aunt, who only liked thin, gorgeous, lashes, pretty, would look at me with disgust. And then when I was 20, I lost all the weight and went to the opposite spectrum to be like too skinny. But then I was, oh, look at my Marni and look how gorgeous. So now I'm thinking in my early 20s, wow, if you want to be loved, you better starve yourself because no one's going to like me if I'm heavy. So my point being, I spent a lifetime focusing on everything wrong, outer validation, outer my physical. And yes, I will always be very vain and how I look. It's very important to me, but it doesn't define who I am. And that was so healing and therapeutic for me. But there's resources out there for you to reach out. You're not alone. Millions of people are suffering today. You're not alone. You don't have to suffer alone. You are not crazy, lazy, stupid. You are loved. You are supposed to be here. I didn't get the opportunity to have help the way there is help today, the way people are talking about mental health today. You are not alone. And I'm going to repeat that over and over, probably every day, because so many people are afraid to reach out. They think, well, what are people going to think of me? What are they going to think of me? One, nobody knows. There's no plane flying overhead. So-and-so went to a therapist. Why would you care more, even though nobody knows, what they think rather than taking care of yourself? Why would you do that to yourself? Why would you not want your mind and your body and your soul to feel the best it can be? Because you're worried what someone's going to say. Nobody knows your life. And who cares? I literally talk about mental health like the weather. It is just, it's fluent for me. And that is my mission, to get everyone to understand we're human and we're not robots. And our mental health is crucial. People, oh, I'm not taking, I don't want to take a Lexapro. Oh no, I'd rather just sit there and compulsively wash my hands every 5 seconds and wear gloves because I'm afraid of germs. Yes, that's just a typical cliche example of OCD, obsessive compulsive disorder, but I know somebody who does that, so it's very familiar to me. So guys, your mental health matters. And I have to give a shout out to all my TikTok friends that are now listening. I love you guys so much. Like, seriously, thank you. And find me on TikTok shop Marni Inspires, and my YouTube Fabulously Flawed. It's just more Marni. And remember, don't let anyone burst your bubble, ever. Love saying the word bubble because you can scream it and not be as mad. And never, ever, 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 ever let anyone dull your sparkle. I am sending you guys so much love and so much peace.
Thanks so much for joining us on this episode of Fabulously Flawed. If you're enjoying the show, please feel free to rate, subscribe, and leave a review wherever you listen to your podcasts. That helps others find the show, and we greatly appreciate it. Once again, we're so glad you're here, and we hope you'll come back Monday through Friday for another serving of empowerment, motivation, and inspiration. We'll catch you next time on Fabulously Flawed.